Hey, this is Charles from infospike.com, and I'm going to give you my work from home dad tips to earn extra income online. So let's go ahead and get started. This is going to be a very raw video where I provide you some tips just from the top of my head, but three of the largest ones. I'll go into some non-entrepreneurial options and then the entrepreneurial options. So let's go ahead and get started. First one is, it might be depressing for some, but it's get a job. And this is actually something where, of course, when people think about job, going in the office, dealing with politics, that sucks. But after the last big pandemic, then of course the world went into a lockdown mode. People still had to work. And so a lot of opportunities start popping up, and they still exist, where you can remote into your office, computer or whatever. You could actually do things 100% remote, virtually. And so this whole thing is what I'm saying, 100% remote. And that is the biggest difference here. Want to look for remote opportunities, and this is different. If you see some offer that says hybrid, where you have to come in the office, that is not 100% remote. So don't look for hybrid, look for something that's 100% remote. And then one of the top places I would say, especially here in the United States, is Indeed.com. Indeed.com is a place where employers, they can advertise jobs. I believe it's also an aggregator where they pull in data from other sources. It's something that I prefer over something called Glassdoor. Glassdoor is very popular. If you want to get a whole bunch of details, you got to sign up and stuff. But with Indeed, you could browse through it. And if you are in a situation where you really need income right now, apply to as many jobs as possible. That's my number one tip. Even apply for a couple hundred in less than a month. And that is very possible. You create a resume, and then you go ahead and find a whole bunch of relevant jobs and just keep on submitting that resume. A lot of them allow you to submit resumes through Indeed and not through the employer portal. And it makes it very easy. A lot of large companies allow that nowadays. And if you are familiar with something called search engine optimization, you might be familiar with keywords and putting relevant keywords in an article. Make sure that you do that in your resume, because a lot of these places, they use software to scan your resume for keywords, and if it has a very low percentage or no percentage of the keywords that they are looking for, they're not going to consider your application. So just keep that in mind. A lot of people that have these skills, I saw an article about this, I'm not sure if it was in businessinsider.com, but I think that a lot of the older generation, people that are my age or older, they are not familiar with this technology. So they have tons and tons of experience, but then they lose out to a bunch of people that are familiar with putting in keywords, putting in trendy kind of words into their resume. And so they lose out. They don't have the opportunity, even though they're extremely experienced and skilled. So keep that in mind. Another place I would recommend is, it's pretty old school, by the way, it's Craigslist. Craigslist will allow you to look at a bunch of jobs, and they might not be like multinational companies, but at least they are companies, I can't say 100% reputable. I'll tell you a story. When I was looking for a job, I think well over like 15 years ago or something, I was looking at Indeed and all these other places, Glassdoor. I'm here in Silicon Valley, by the way. And I was looking for all these types of jobs, and then submitted tons of resumes, got a few bites. Interviews just didn't go so well. A lot of things that I didn't expect at the time. Here in Silicon Valley, it's a very competitive landscape. So sometimes they ask you a lot of weird questions to figure out like how you're going to answer a specific question. It's almost like a riddle. Sometimes some employers, they like asking these riddles, and extreme, kind of like very focused on abstract concepts that people don't normally get asked in an interview outside of Silicon Valley or tech. So it's kind of weird. But anyways, Craigslist here, spelled it wrong. Craigslist is an old school website. And if you go to it, I believe it has like the original design that it had like maybe in the late 1990s or early 2000s, whenever it started. And it still is a very huge website for classified ads. So like in my mind, when I think about old school classified ads, it's like probably the number one I think about, unless you're thinking about like niche specific classified ads. So one thing that happened to me was that I was looking for a way to earn money. And so I went to Craigslist, and what I found out is that there are some actually good companies, and I did get a lot of bites from Craigslist, because what you'll find is that there are companies in areas where they might not have the talent that they're looking for. So for example, San Diego, it's changed since I've been there, but San Diego is not the tech mecca of the world like Silicon Valley is. And so in Silicon Valley, there's a whole bunch of people that have a lot of cutting edge, bleeding edge skills when it comes to high tech. But in SoCal, there's less. And it's not a knock on SoCal. I love going to like Orange County, Los Angeles and stuff like that. But the talent doesn't exist there like it does in Silicon Valley. It's like, duh, that's just how it is. But what happens is that since these companies, especially smaller companies, these not like multinational companies, they're looking for talent and they don't want to spend a fortune on advertising. So what they'll do is they'll post something on Craigslist and they'll get a bunch of bites. And I remember even when I worked in San Diego, I was in a higher level position, and I remember like looking for people to hire. I was looking for people to hire, and I posted some positions on Craigslist, and I was able to get some bites. And so it's still a very good resource, and they have some opportunities that are remote. So keep that in mind. And also recruiters that work on commissions, they are also posting on these types of places because they're working on commission. They're looking for talent, and they don't have high income in their pocket, but they want to actually get more staff for these companies that they're working for to actually recruit people into, and they want to compete. And so, since they get high commission, they have to go into something that doesn't cost a lot of money. So Craigslist is an option. Another option, if you're just looking for something that is maybe you want to go into something because you want to help out society, you want to go in the government or something like that, if you feel that way anyways. It's a place where there are some remote jobs listed. It's just not a lot. A lot of them will be like hybrid nowadays, but it's an option. And if you are just looking for extra income, and maybe that you're thinking about working in the office in the future, it might be an option for you. And let's go ahead and talk about the next thing. Let's see if I could actually get this done. Okay, there we go. What is the second big way to earn extra income? The second big way is selling your own products. And the first idea that comes to mind is Amazon, and also FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. So this is a big option if you want to do something like when I say your own products, it doesn't have to be products that you manufacture. A lot of people will actually go to places like Alibaba and other sites that are outside the United States, where they provide products that are at a fraction of the price that you'd find here in the US. So here's an example. I took a trip to China, and this was just for fun. I was just having fun over there. I was there for like a month. Did a lot of shopping, and I went to this place. I think it's called Tianjin. And I remember there was like this rack, and it reminded me of like you go to a shopping mall here in the United States, go to a store that has a whole bunch of like clothing, but it's not like a name brand shop, and it might be cheaper than the name brand shops. And it reminded me like that, but it's on the street. And I saw this jacket, and I was thinking, this is a super nice jacket, very elegant looking, and I bought it for like $9. And it's like, to me, it's like one of my favorite jackets at the time. And the way that it was built, it wasn't like super cheap materials or anything like that. It's actually pretty good. I was very surprised that it lasted for several years. But I remember going to Macy's. I went to Macy's, one of the big stores here in the US, and I remember, and if you're not familiar with Macy's, it's more expensive than going to just a basic store. More expensive than going to Walmart or Target for sure. And I remember walking through the aisles, I saw that jacket I was wearing, and I looked at it. I looked at the label, and it had a totally different label. It was as if it was manufactured in the US. So a lot of these places, they have like a white label where you could put your label onto a product and sell it. So of course there's going to be some additional fees if you create your own brand over somebody else's brand. But that's what I saw, is the exact jacket, and it was selling for over $100 for something I bought for $9. So you can see the profit margin there. And even though like this company in China was selling for $9, they're making a profit on that because it wasn't a wholesale shop. So I'm guessing that they probably get it made for a couple bucks and they sell for $9, something like that. That's my guess. So people do that on Amazon. You'll find a whole bunch of shops that will buy somewhere else, kind of like arbitrage. They buy it at a very cheap price and then they resell it on Amazon. You just got to make sure you're selling legit stuff. You don't want to be selling knockoffs or anything like that. But that is an option. And some people will do fulfillment where they're paying for the service. Maybe they might take a fraction, a percent or whatever, but what happens is that it's drop shipping kind of. So you get an order and then you have to go to the actual vendor or distributor and say, somebody ordered this jacket from my shop. I want you to go ahead and mail it to that person. So the thing is that you're not buying inventory to store in your house or your warehouse, and it's being shipped directly from the factory or distributor. Issue with that is that it sucks when you list a whole bunch of items, people buy a bunch of items, and then you realize that that distributor either doesn't have it in stock or stop selling it. And you weren't in the know, and then you find out, gosh, my shop's outdated, and you have to cancel a whole bunch of orders. So there's still a lot of legwork in that. Another one is that some people get a Shopify store. You might have heard of that. They build up their own website and sell stuff, and they bypass Amazon. They build their brand, they build their mailing list, and they're able to remarket to people that go into their shop. They control the customer list instead of like Amazon totally controlling that. So that is actually a big benefit, having your own shop. Thing is, you got to pay for ads. That's how a lot of people do it. Some people do it using organic, but most of the successful people, they will pay for ads, whether it's Facebook or Google ads, whatever ad platform. And setting up your business, all the logistics of that, that's, it's still there. They just try to automate it. They have some special tools inside that allow you to find products and list products very easily. And then there's also the ability to sell your own digital products. And there are platforms that allow you to do that very easily. And then same thing with the last two. Either you put it on a platform or you put it on your own website where you could actually have total control. So those are ebooks, courses, anything like that. I'm thinking about like this Amazon FBA. One of the things that I recall is selling supplements. I just want to say this kind of like more like a legal disclaimer. I'm not an attorney or anything like that, but be very careful what you sell. I used to be in the nutritional supplement space, and I realized that just like the jacket example I gave you, there are companies that will do something called private label. I could put my brand, my label on a product that is provided to a whole bunch of companies. Like you might have seen, like you go to a popper store, like let's say Target, and then they have their own brand of supplements, own brand of medicine, and all that kind of stuff. That's what I kind of used to do, where I put my own label on these products, and I didn't do it manually. I've heard a bit about people doing that manually and have built up big businesses posting stickers on bottles to save money, but I had a company do it, and the company was able to do, like, let's say I could get like a bottle of a supplement for like $1 to $3 and then probably sell it online for $37. That's kind of like the markup on these premium products that are being sold in the nutritional space. But keep in mind that anything that people ingest, anything that affects a person's livelihood, health, finances, It's a very big deal, especially in a regulated area. So just keep that in mind, because whenever you're in these types of spaces where it greatly affects a person's life or health, you got to be very, very careful. I'm not a lawyer, not a CPA, not giving you advice. I'm just saying that you have to seek the professionals out there to get assistance before you start promoting. There are, of course, legal ramifications for that. People have gone to jail because they just didn't know, that they would go in jail for promoting something. And you might have seen this in other spaces where people try to sell something like with a whole bunch of hype, and they realize that that's what makes money, but it also is what puts people in a bad situation. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Now there's a whole thing about promoting other people's products. And this whole thing here is, I'll say, one that is well known. When I remember, like maybe about 25, 30 years ago or something like that, I got into something, I'll say typical biz op. Back then, and even today, people go into these typical biz ops where you got to recruit a whole bunch of people, and people think it's like a pyramid scheme or Ponzi scheme or whatever. I'm not going to name any companies. I'm sure you're aware of some. And you do these house parties and bring people in these business opportunities, and you talk to your friends and family. That's one. And I'm not, I could say that depends on your cup of tea, because I personally I'm not super into that, but I have friends that are, and I have friends that are making extreme bank on these platforms, these companies. And I remember a guy that I actually went through many years ago. I'm talking about decades ago. A guy was making probably about 25 million a year or something like that. And I know someone locally, very closely, that makes like about 37K a month. So it is an opportunity for people that want to go that route, but there's a lot of people that just don't like that kind of stuff. And I'll put typical affiliate offer. Typical affiliate offer, promoting other people's products. You go to probably the easiest way is you go to an affiliate network. Amazon has their own program where you could promote just about anything on Amazon. Some have higher commissions than others. Some have barely any commission, no commission. So keep that in mind. You got to look at what you can promote on those platforms and make money. And if you're making like, let's say 4% or something like that, it really will take a lot if you want to make some type of living, especially if you're in a big city. Just to hit $1,000, it requires a lot of sales. Some people will focus on very high-end products, but with some high-end products, it's like the volume of searches is low. So there's a limited group of products that you could promote, and then other people will use tools to identify those, and you'll be competing against a bunch. But the money is still there. Some people make a fantastic living. I'm talking about making like over 4 or 5 figures, 6 figures a day. That's possible. So I was talking about Amazon there. So like with ClickBank, you want to be able to look at products that have something like a high gravity score. High gravity score is something like, let's say, high is like, let's say over 50, and there's products that have lower gravity score, even 5-10%, that you can still promote and make money off of. They're not as competitive. They might not have a whole bunch of hype, but the thing is that they can be promoted if you know how to pre-sell and send the right traffic to them. So one thing I'll give you as a tip for products that are hard to sell, where you have to create a lot of awareness, is that you use something called an opt-in form. It's a landing page, a web page that you have, and then you ask for an email address. Because a lot of people, they're not going to buy right away, right when they land on your site, and they might not ever buy at all from you. But the thing is that at least you have the chance to remarket to them. And I'll give you an example. When I was in the financial services industry, I used to promote my newsletter. I had a financial newsletter, and then with that newsletter, I would actually take it to different people, different kind of classes, and promote it. And it would actually be a way to get their contact information. I'd get their full mailing information, and then on special holidays, almost every month there's something to celebrate. besides a birthday. Like you can think about Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, Memorial Day, all these popular days in the United States, there's always a way to tie in an offer. So back in the day, I remember I had 12 stacks of paper. Each one was for a month. And then those would be for trifolds. And I would actually have these folded and put in an envelope and send out to my prospects. And every month they would get my newsletter or my other material. And that's how I used to follow up through direct mail. So something similar happens in email, except email it has a lower cost. There is some cost associated to it, because I'm not talking about sending from your personal Gmail. I'm talking about using an email marketing platform that's automated. So you send out a bunch of emails, and some people do it daily, some people do it weekly, some people do it monthly, and then you're able to remarket and promote a wide range of offers to people. So that's what I personally do. And so I'm going to put something called modern MMO funnel. So modern MMO funnel is make money online, is actually an industry, a niche, and these actually have a lot of automation where there's a lot of work that's already done for you. And there's several companies that are popular nowadays that do this. And what happens is that they promote a core offer, and then after that, there could be a sequence of different offers. But what I found out is that there's a very big difference in how you can actually utilize and automate and get ready to start building your business. And there's actually some where it can take, like, let's say 30 minutes to set up. And there's some that if you go in, log in, if you know exactly what to do, you can actually start up a business and promote for years to come for, like, let's say, set it up in 5 minutes. So I've seen a lot of those. I reviewed a lot of those, and they are pretty good money makers for people that are starting out. There are people that have been in the industry for, like, let's say decades, and they promote these offers and they're able to make tons. And I say tons, like, let's say that within 2 weeks, people making like 5 figures from just initial promotions. So just keep that in mind. And that's the first kind of level or layer or tier of commissions. A person can actually make recurring commissions. So keep that in mind, that initial promotions, they can actually lead to additional commissions from that initial sale. So that's how you could actually kind of make semi-passive income, where you can make money month after month for years to come from your promotions. Instead of like these typical offers, you promote an offer, you, let's say, direct link to your affiliate link, and then you make a sale, but then your commission stops. So that's the biggest difference. So if you want to learn more about affiliate marketing, that's what I do. I do a lot of affiliate marketing. I've done almost like everything on this list I've actually done. So I would say that if you want to learn about affiliate marketing, make sure that you check out infospike.com. Check out the link in my description. And if you really want to get more content like this, then go ahead, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and you'll get my latest content. Thank you for watching.